right, cool. So here we go. Copy Squad, what is up? Today, we're going to dive into the 5 simple steps that get emotional buy-in in the very first words of your copy. All right, hopefully present mode is rocking and rolling. Disclaimer. The profits and past performance discussed in this presentation are intended for illustrative purposes only. While we have seen massive success with this strategy, we cannot guarantee any specific future results. I think one thing that I can kind of highlight in doing this is this metaphor that I am the architect and I am handing you blueprints. I cannot swing the hammer for you. So in terms of like what sorts of results you get, it really matters how many times you swing that hammer, okay? Because I'm going to give you the plans. That's what the whole point of this thing is here, is so that you'll have that blueprint ready to rock and roll so that you can start implementing this stuff for yourself. Now, I've spent the past 2 years designing the perfect copywriting strategy. Strategy so simple, you can check just 5 simple boxes and produce 7-figure promos over and over again. If you can master this one strategy, you'll never look for work again. Your money problems will vanish and you'll pull 5-figure royalty checks monthly with the occasional 6-figure month. I know, I've seen it, I've paid them out. You will consistently destroy top performing controls. You'll command the industry's respect and be regularly courted, wined, and dined by the top publishers in the world. I'm speaking from personal experience and reported experience from writers who have been on my team and used this system and this sort of recruiting experience that they've gone through. You'll confidently command royalty rates that would make most copywriters blush. After I started developing this concept, my team and I grew the revenue of one publisher 5-fold, blasting it from an obscure, no-name company to one as big as some Agora divisions. I know that some folks actually think that this company was an Agora division because of how big it became, but it actually blasted off from like a small start. And this happened faster than any other publishing company in history. It was just one strategy that took me from the $7 million Agora prodigy when I was at Agora Financial and blasted my career. Like 7.1, I was like a made man. But using this simple 5-box system, I took that and I absolutely trounced it, becoming a $50 million copy chief. And we made ourselves a lot of money in the process. I'm talking about royalties. All right, and here's the best part. I've seen this work no matter your experience level, and this is going to be crucial to this presentation that I'm going to demonstrate. It doesn't matter your experience level, and no matter what you're selling, okay? I'm going to prove that too. So for example, inside of like the financial publishing world, because there's different sorts of promos inside of each different niche and industry. And so in financial, there's also sub niches of promos. So I used this strategy. I wrote a $1 million retracement promo as my very first project at Wealth Press. And then I wrote a $1 million income promo for an unusual options expert. I wrote that in just 1 week. And I wrote a $1 million option spreads promo for a different guru, 3 different gurus, which I wrote in a single weekend. I met this dude on Thursday. We had a conversation. I started writing on Friday. I submitted to legal on Monday. I wrote it over the weekend. So that's 3 different style promos for 3 completely different gurus. They have their own methods and their own mannerisms. They're different people. I couldn't just sit down and just copy and paste the same promo. These were different folks, and they all produced over $1 million each. Each of these promos did. And of course, that's worth tens of thousands of dollars in delicious royalties. I'm gonna break down the math early for you. 1% royalty rate. 1% of 1 million is 10,000 bucks. 2% is 20,000, 3% is 30,000. You see what I'm saying here? I'm telling you, this is proven. All right, so the first thing you're gonna say is, yeah, but that's you. I'm not a copy chief. Well, the point of this is I actually was able to produce these results with a team of mostly green copywriters to the tune of over $50 million in a single year. So the way that I did this is I was actually trying to recruit folks who were not yet fully trained. They were not senior level writers, so that I could use this system. So I could try to implement this system so that they had like a blank slate. And on the screen, this is a GIF of my LinkedIn profile. And so you can see on some of these months, because we were able to use this system and scale so quickly, you can see that on some months we had 3, 4, There might even be one with 5 promos launching in a single month. So that's awesome too, is you don't need $1 million hit every at bat. If you can produce 5 promos in a single month, that adds up. But I think what's really important there is just like the amount of volume that you can do when you have a reliable system that you can come back to over and over again. And you'll notice that some of these numbers are actually quite large. I'm seeing there's 2 million, 3 million. Yeah, so there's a bunch of money to be made there. And these were writers that were in their very first year or two of writing, or writers who had not yet achieved $1 million promo in their entire career. So you might know some of their names. Some of these dudes did come from big publishing houses, but they hadn't had the success that they were hoping to have achieved. They didn't hit that $1 million mark with the promo. But all these dudes, despite their varying backgrounds, no experience, some experience, they all had one thing in common. When they wrote a promo, their job was to follow this strategy and simply check off 5 little boxes in the very first few pages. Now, let me show you with some examples. I told you I was going to show you. So one of our gurus was a very out there sort of futurist type, okay? He loved technology and trends that nobody else was even talking about yet. In other words, he loved investments that weren't popular or even on anybody's radar, okay? So if it was, he's sort of like one of those dudes, like when your band goes mainstream, he's like, I don't follow that band anymore, they're mainstream, right? He's like one of those guys. So as soon as an investment or a strategy would become mainstream and everybody was talking about it, he just thought it was not cool. And he would just like, I don't want to write about it anymore. So this actually forced us to create demand. Okay, that's if you've ever written copy or been in marketing, creating demand is like the hardest thing. It's like a no-no. It's like instead you want to swim with the tide. You don't want to create new demand for something that has never been has never existed before. You want to go with the current flow of demand. So it's a lot easier to channel demand than create demand. So for any pro copywriter, very, very high hurdle. For pro copywriters like the A-listers. However, one of my writers I picked up from Agora, he had never written $1 million launch. I took this dude, we wrote a promo with these 5 boxes. He checked off all 5 at the start of his, at the start of this guru's wild space tech promo. We're talking about mining asteroids for money and stuff. That was the kind of stuff that we were talking about in our meetings. Like, how am I going to get a 60, 70-year-old retiree interested in mining asteroids for gold or something like that? But the way that we checked off these boxes, his copy stopped readers in their tracks, got them excited for something that no one had ever even heard of before. Bingo bango, a man gets his first $1 million launch. Now, I did the math for you a little bit earlier, but you know that's a fat 5-figure royalty check. So he's all good to go there. But that's not where this story ends. Okay, within no time, we actually saw other pubs. This happens in our niche all the time, our copy in general. We saw other pubs blatantly copying my writer's opening lines, even using the exact same image that we used in our lead. Now, remember, we were the little guy. We weren't a $50 million pub at this point. We were obscure. There were only like 2 or 3 other businesses out there we even knew we existed, but they caught wind of what we were doing. They saw what we were doing. They copied what we were doing, right? So, oh well, let them copy, because the point is we have this repeatable system that we can do this twice before breakfast. Like, it doesn't matter. We'll just go back and we'll do it again. So another example of a winner using this system is one of my writers I picked up from the Copy Squad Inner Circle. And this is like my paid membership program where we talk about copy and stuff. So this guy had never written copy before in his life. He was just newly interested in it. He joined the program. But I could tell from his first sample that he sent in for a critique that I could teach him this system and he would follow it. Because the way that he was writing copy was very sort of basically step 1, step 2 mechanical checklist based. And I was like, oh, if I just told him the right steps, he would follow the steps, and then I know he could be successful. So I invited him to join my team and gave him a job. What I didn't know at the time was this dude actually struggling with dyslexia. So his whole life, he had trouble reading and, writing, which is a big part of the whole copywriting game. However, his technical writing skills, his ability to sit down and craft masterful copy was far less important than his ability to simply follow the steps, follow the mechanical process. Check, 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 check. Okay. All that mattered was he checked the 5 boxes to hook our audience and get them stoked right away. That's another theme that I want to hammer here is your sale is won or lost in your first 5, let's say 7 pages, okay? In your first 5 to 7 pages, you either have the sale or don't. And that's what the point, that's why these 5 boxes are so important. All right, so the result for this man, he went from just finding out what copy was and checking out my group and submitting his first piece of copy that he ever written ever to getting his first $1 million launch in the first months of his career. Now he's got a couple million under his belt and of course pocketed tens of thousands in royalties. So he actually sent me an email saying thanks. And so I was going to chop this up for the slides because it's so much text, but I'm so proud of this email. I'm so stoked that I just want to read this out. Hey boss man, I haven't shared the huge news, but these last 2 months, my camera's in the way, but these last 2 months have been my best ever as a copywriter. I had the biggest launch of my life at the end of September, over 2 million in sales in 10 days. We closed it out on October 1st. I collected my first ever 5-figure paycheck, over 35K in royalties. Between August 1st and 9th, I turned out an entire promo, the asset doc, landers, emails. Those are all ancillary copy and 4 hot list scripts. We went live on 19th at over 400K in the first 5 days. After that, I wrote a pop-up event on the 26th. It cleared 250K within the first couple days. The biggest one in our company's history by a long shot. Look how fast this is happening. This month's royalty should be around 20K. Couldn't have done this without you or your teachings. And more importantly, I wouldn't have had the confidence to turn out all that copy that fast under these heavy deadlines. Crazy how much things have changed in just over a year. Appreciate everything, Rodney G. So that's my man, Rodney. Love him to death. He's a hard worker, obviously. And again, the system has done wonders for him, his income, his career. It's really helped him step it up. All right. So I know a lot of people who have worked long and hard in the copy game, not just the copy game, but offer owners, business owners, people who are just trying to sell stuff. I have people who are doing business consulting and they use some of these things in my copy YouTube and stuff to try to help up their copy game for other businesses and clients and stuff. But I know people who have been in copy for a long time, offer owners, business owners, and consultants that do not have a reading disability and still don't have a single 7-figure win to their name. And I know it's not for lack of trying. And that's something that's really, really, really important that we're going to go over, is that it's not for lack of effort. Your effort, that's the thing. I'm trying to tell you, like, the effort doesn't matter as much as just doing the right thing and checking these boxes and the impact these boxes have. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about just a second. The point is, it doesn't have to be that way. You don't, I'm going to pause and go off script. One of the things that I always tell beginner copywriters, specifically junior copywriters, is do the least. Do the least. Do the least. It's generally a problem of overexerting yourself, trying to do too much crazy stuff, going over the top, getting too flowery. You're not doing the least. I see this trip up more beginner copywriters than probably anything else in the game. So I'm going to revisit that too. One of my senior writers used the same technique I'm about to show you to go from an intern to bringing in over $40 million in the 2 years we worked together. Now notice, intern, I called him a senior writer. In 2 years, he went from an intern, a dude who was hired to do whatever. He wasn't a marketer. He wasn't like an email specialist. He wasn't like an ads guy or a copy guy. He came into the business as an intern to sort of do whatever. He saw the copy game. I brought him on. We used the system. Goes over $40 million in 2 years. Okay, why don't you hear it from the man himself? Now I'm going to trust you to tell me if the sound is terrible, but here, I'm going to go ahead and play this. He sent me this video.
Hey Kyle, just wanted to say thanks for all you've done and the time and effort you've invested in me personally. You helped me go from a guy who had never written copy in his life to over $40 million in sales in just over a year. I owe it all to you. Your systems and processes you've put in place are next level. It's been a complete game changer in my life.
That's my man Graham, another super hard worker, follows the system, and he's got just like Rodney, just tons of volume, tons of effort, tons of reps. Helped take him from intern to $40 million in copy. Now, I'm not going to share my boy's specific income, but I did the math for you earlier on what $1 million equals at 1% and 2% and 3%. So $40 million is a shit ton of royalties. Okay, just think of it like that. Okay, so this is the crux of the argument. He probably had a bunch of hand holding from you. You probably showed him the way and rewrote all his copy. This is something that people always say when they want to hate on other people's success. Yeah, your copy chief redid everything. And I want to show you that this strategy is so powerful and easy to use, you don't even need me. And that was kind of the thing that I was going for. I was trying to multiply myself as a copy chief. I didn't want to be that copy chief that worked 60 hours a week or 80 hours a week or rewrote everybody's copy. That is not a copy chief. That's a dude who's just like the hustle grind to death. That's a copywriter who's on overdrive. So I want to show you can grab anybody's attention with this system. Get them excited to pay you, again, within your first couple pages, and you could do it with barely any effort at all. So a couple months ago, okay, we had a big affiliate launch coming up, something that could easily bring in fast 7 figures. Now, this is important. It's an affiliate launch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to other businesses and we're going to say, hey, we got an offer. We want you to send it to your list instead of sending your own stuff. And we go and get a couple of those businesses to do it. So we're multiplying the size and scale of our launch so that we can make the most money possible. But there's more than just money on the line. This becomes a high risk situation because you don't get a lot of chances to mess this stuff up before a business says, all right, we're not going to send that dude stuff anymore. It doesn't work. It's just a waste of money, and it burns bridges. Those bridges are very flammable. They're like tinder, right? So this product was brand new and we had no proof our promo would even work. Now here's the other thing. The product was being in development and we had not written the promo. So relationships, reputation as a reliable affiliate, those things were at stake if this did not perform. So most copy chiefs would want this project for themselves. Okay, they'd want 2 things. They'd want control. They want to have absolute control over everything going on so it doesn't burn the bridge. And 2, they want as much of the royalty split as possible. So fewer juniors means all the royalties, right? So they would either take control, or if they did let someone work on it, they would micromanage it like a hawk. I'm speaking from experience here, but not me. With this powerful technique for getting people hooked and immediately excited, we actually decided to let a junior copywriter, not a senior copywriter, we let a junior write the promo, and I put a senior on it simply to just make sure he was following the system, checking the boxes. And for me, all that was left for me to do was smile and beam with pride, because that launch brought in over $1.4 million in just the first couple days of launching. And again, the point is, this is why the system is the holy grail of writing 7-figure copy and collecting fat 5 and sometimes 6-figure royalty checks. Yes, I say again, 6 figures in a month. I've seen them. I've even paid them out. Okay, I'm not talking about me. I've paid it out to other writers. Okay, so you see, I personally coached some rookie copywriters to use this strategy for their first $1 million launch, but this affiliate launch was special. It proved that the technique was so powerful and so simple, it could stand on its own. They didn't really need me for it to work. I was not the secret sauce. This is clutch. I was not the secret sauce. Okay, so you don't need me. I'm not going to sell you on like, oh, do my consulting, do my coaching. No, the system is the secret sauce. The system stands on its own. So this launch was very recent, and it was the proof I needed that this system was ready for the rest of the world, that anybody could pick it up. It was proof that anybody could pick it up and start writing 7-figure leads and generating those handsome royalties for themselves. Again, without having to join my full-time team. Like, you could do this at another publisher. You could be a copy chief and send this down to your people. You could do it without paying for one of like my monthly programs or my groups. And you don't have to, like, again, come directly to me and pay me a ton of money for coaching. Again, that's not scalable. That's not what I really want to do. What I want to do is instead want to share the system with you today so that you can use it. Now, the cool part is once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's just 5 steps. It's 5 things. And then once you see it, you can use it for the rest of your life. You'll have that knowledge forever because it's just a simple money-making blueprint that is proven. So the next question, okay, because this is the one I just absolutely know is going to come up. It's going to be, Will this really work in any niche? I don't write financial copy. Those are all financial copy examples. Couldn't possibly work in my niche. Well, let me ask you something, player. 1 second here. Does this look like a financial promo to you? But I'm still using it. Listen, I don't care what you're selling. I don't care what niche you're in. What I have for you today will stop people in their tracks, make them pay attention, and ultimately make them pay you a whole lot of money. But before we dive into specifics of how it works and how you can get started using it right away, I should introduce myself. My name is Kyle Milligan. So like I mentioned earlier, I got my start at Agora Financial. I became the $7.1 million man. It was kind of like the prodigy thing because in my first year, I was able to make a bunch of money. I attribute a lot of that to my first copy chief was Evaldo Albuquerque, who's a master of the craft. And I believe I was his first hire. I'm pretty sure I was his first official junior hire. And then I transitioned. I left Agora and I went to Wealth Press, where I wanted to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, where I wanted to take the stuff that I had learned and see if I could replicate it, grow a team, build systems. I'm really a systems oriented guy. You're going to find here is I feel like the system is the solution, not talent, not skill, not big ideas. I'm not that dude. I believe in mechanical process for copy. So thanks to all the money I made with this strategy, I walked away from my copy chief job actually very recently to run my Copy Squad agency full time. More on that in a moment, because this is going to be very important. Part of the Copy Squad agency, I'm going to give a little teaser. Part of it is that if I can systemize this writing thing, then I can scale it. And what I can do is I can give it to people like you, and I can give you guys opportunities to basically repeat this system and make yourself a bunch of money. Again, I'm gonna speak on this just a little bit more in a minute because I think it's gonna be very important for you. So I was hired October 2nd, 2017. Okay. And on day one, my copy chief revealed everything wrong with the copy coaching industry. So let me set the context for you. I come in, I have no idea anything about copy, but I've read like 2 books. I read Joe Sugarman's Adweek Copywriting Handbook, and I read Gary Halbert's The Boron Letters. So I asked him, I'm like, hey man, I read this. What do I read next? I want to be good. How do I get good at copy? And what he said was, stop reading about copy. Just read copy. He said, those 2 books, that's enough. He said, maybe read Great Leads. All right. So I listened to him. And for the past 4 years, that is all I've done. Since October 2nd, 2017, I have read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of promos and campaigns and email gauntlets and dissected order forms and upsell paths. That's all I do. I even started a private group where we would just read copy together every single Tuesday. So this is a scroll through our Kajabi folders of some of the docs and videos of the sales letter breakdowns that I've done. And you can see it says sales letter breakdowns 202 because I had so many, Kajabi wouldn't let me put any more in the folder. I had to create a second folder. So this is straight up what I do. I mean, like for fun. So we would look at professional 7-figure copy. And then we would also take user submissions from our working copywriters within the group. And we were able to compare and contrast the 2 types of copy. So what we could do is over time, okay, remember, I'm doing this for years. I discovered a consistent pattern. Okay, it was really easy when I was comparing all the 7-figure promos, and then I would try to help people with their user submissions. So like, I can see what you're missing because it's in all these other 7-figure promos. You just have these gaps, so you just got to fill them. Over time, I discovered a consistent pattern. I actually pointed it out on November 1, 2019 on one of our calls. It was hard to see, but I got all these notes and stuff on these things. I start creating a list. Like, this is always here. This is always here. This is always here. And that day, November 1, 2019, could have possibly been one of the most important days of my life, because that's when I realized why most copywriters struggle. Why going back to the blank page and starting a new project was always so stressful, no matter how much I had written. I remember after I got that title of being like the $7.1 million guy and having that sort of clout and credibility, I would still go back to the blank page and try to start a new project and feel like I'm winging it. Like I don't even, how did I do it before? I can't repeat it. And so out of necessity, I started to draw these systems. And look, this is something that nobody does. There's an obsession with this big idea, right? And here's how you can tell. If you submit copy to an expert or a copy chief or a guru, and they send it back and they say it sucks, rewrite it. Why does it suck? How do I fix it? That's just bad. It's boring. This idea sucks. It's like, that is not feedback. That's not actually a system that you can follow for success. You can't fix that. You can't optimize this sucks. Like, but that's how you can tell that even the people at the highest level, they actually don't know either. Like they kind of just put out enough volume that they have a couple big hits and then all of a sudden they're gurus, right? So if you've ever felt like your copy didn't consistently knock it out of the park, like it's a roll of the dice, whether your ideas are big ideas or they're ticking time bombs that are going to give you big donut holes in sales, it's not your fault. The fundamental precept we have all used to write our copy is incomplete. And that's what we're going to dissect here. And I'm going to give you 5 boxes on how to fill in those blanks. Okay, go. Here it is. Here's the regurgitated line that everybody uses to write copy. Anticipate and overcome objections. I say that this is a roadmap to mediocre copy because it doesn't really guide your actions. It doesn't really guide how to write copy. And I'll explain more in a moment here. See, when you approach copy this way, you end up with some useful copy, but oftentimes, more often than not, you end up with a lot of junk because you're actually sitting here, you're imagining someone else's thoughts, and you have to sort of rank and prioritize what their next thought is and how you're going to approach and fix that and overcome that objection. And that's exactly why it's so inconsistent, is because you have to basically be a mind reader in order to do the anticipate and overcome objections thing. It's just incomplete. Now, when you seek to address and overcome all the objections like we are taught, sometimes you get the right objections, but sometimes you get the wrong objections, thing that were never, okay, so here's another thing. These are things that might not even cross their mind that you're bringing up. So you might be creating new objections to things that they hadn't even thought of so that you could handle them, so you could anticipate and overcome them. But sometimes you do it right, sometimes you do it wrong. When you do it right, those are hits. When you do it wrong, those are the duds, right? Okay, now here's the big problem. All objections are not created equal. In fact, I argue there's only 4 objections that matter. And whenever you start to create these boxes in your head for sections of copy and make sure that you're addressing these things during those sections of copy, this becomes very simple. This becomes so much simpler. The objections clearly listed here. 1, what's in it for me? 2, how is that possible? 3, how does it work? 4, how can I get started? When you start compartmentalizing your copy into these boxes, everything else gets a lot easier. Because once you know how to do this, you can stop writing junk. Once you know how to do this, like once you know these 4 objections, now you're equipped to use the one strategy that I'm about to show you that makes the millions and pays the outrageous royalties, bags of money just overflowing all over the table. Because when you know what is important and what is junk, when you know the difference, you can control attention. This is important. Okay, now I actually had to edit this slideshow recently. So I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So I got a really cool, humbling sort of invitation. I got invited to Todd Brown's Top 1 Mastermind, which is an exclusive, like $40,000 mastermind thing. And I got asked to come speak, and I got to go for free, which was incredible. And when I got there, I'm hanging out with top marketers, like really smart people, intimidating sort of stuff. But something I started to notice was these guys are very intelligent, but they're not purebred copywriters. They're marketers. They have businesses. Some of them are Instagram people. Some of them are Facebook people. Some of them are selling real estate courses. Like they're not like, they don't sit down and look at copy the way that people like me and other copywriters sit there and just analyze it. And a lot of the things that they kept coming back to, control the attention. They kept kind of talking about this aspect. How do I got the attention? How do I control the attention? How do I keep the attention? How do I keep it on me? Keep it on the page? And that was for me, I was like, but that's really obvious. Like that's the easy stuff. Like that's the simple part. That's what we do. And it was crazy that it was something, it was like that was like that was the sticking point. And, you know, we almost take it for granted that that's solvable. Okay. So if you've ever worked in sales before, especially on the phone or in person, face to face, you are taught how to control the conversation. Okay. This is very important. You keep the conversation on the key points you want the conversation to focus on. You keep the other person focused on the things you want them to focus on. You don't let their attention go all over the place, because you're either talking to them on the phone and you're keeping them engaged, or you're doing face-to-face sales, and that allows you to bend their reality, because their sorts of little threads in their head sort of get pushed to the side. You shape the path so it goes directly in the direction that you want. You bend their reality to become the reality that you dictate to them. You are in control. You make the rules. So the problem with anticipate and overcome is it forces you to automatically put the other person's reality in the dominant position. You understand? Because now you're actually focused on all those other trailing thoughts, all those other threads and paths and things they might think of, instead of controlling the conversation and pushing it the direction that you want to go. So this works sometimes. Again, like I said, sometimes you hit the right objections, and sometimes you push it in the right order. Sometimes you push the right buttons, and then sometimes you miss, and then you write a dud, and then you're all like, oh my God, I just wasted 3 months of my life. My clients hate me. Nobody thinks I'm cool, and I didn't make any money either. So until you learn to control the attention, you cannot possibly produce consistent high performing results. That's ultimately the lesson here. And you do not control the attention by anticipating and overcoming objections. To do it right, to control the attention, you must do it at the very start of the attention, at the very start of the conversation. Okay. So you do that by forcing the right objections in your very first line. And that's what I'm going to teach you to do. I'm going to teach you how to force objections instead of anticipating objections. I'm going to teach you to control the conversation instead of being led by whatever, you know, mind reading philosophy you're trying to implement. So if you don't take control in the first 5 lines, you do not have control. The other person, someone's in control. It's either you or them. And if you don't do it in the first 5 lines, you don't have control of the conversation. You can't control and direct their attention the way that you want. So let's revisit the 4 objections, right? What's in it for me is number 1. It's what's in it for me? How is this possible? How does it work? How can I get started? So what's in it for me is number 1. In the second line of this, I start with, I've spent the past 2 years developing the perfect copywriting strategy. Line 2, a strategy so easy, you can check just 5 simple boxes and produce 7-figure promos over and over again. You know what's in it for you. I've satisfied that. The next thing, once I go through what's in it for you and I've identified that, we're going to move into how is this possible. The slide is going to read. In fact, after I started developing this concept, my copy team and I grew the revenue of one publisher 5-fold. And then I'm going to start moving deeper into what that looked like. Okay. How is this possible? How can I check 5 boxes? And like, so, okay. So what's in it for me is the first thing. And I identify that for you. 5 boxes, 7-figure promos. How? No way. How's that? That's not even possible. You're lying. That's not possible. Okay. Well, let me present. I actually did grow a publisher 5-fold with me and my green copywriting team. And I'm going to expand on how that's possible. And so, see, I'm proving that it is possible by showing you the 3 promos that I wrote. I'm going to show you 3 examples of promos that other folks wrote with narratives behind that, explaining what was happening during those times and the results that they had. And then by the time I start listing the examples of these winners, you're steadily accepting it is indeed possible. You are almost bored with that question. And now you're starting to wonder. I'm forcing you to wonder, how? How did you do it? Once you believe that it's within the realm of possibility, the next thing you just want to know is how. You're sitting here because you want the 5 boxes. You want to check the 5 boxes. You want to make the 7 figures. How does that work? How do I do it? So I've already started revealing some of the pieces, like the 4 objections, okay, for how it works. But I'm not done. There's more. I'm going to show you the 5 boxes here. So by now you understand exactly what's in it for you, which is the riches, the respect, getting courted. This is not made up. Like, once you are a name in this industry, in your niche, people come to you. They start flooding your inbox. They start making outrageous offers. I'll tell you, that's something else. The the people who need, employees and staff, they start throwing money. They start throwing money because they have to break loyalty and comfort and safety of having a good job that's been paying for a long time. And they come in, it's like offering, 10% higher on a house than what the seller is even asking for. That's what it's like when you're a name in the industry, because they want you to leave what you're doing. So first, what's in it for you? Riches, respect. Okay. How is it possible? Well, you got to discard the junk. So first thing is you got to stop talking about junk objections. And the way that you do that is knowing what objections are important, which objections are not. So you got to discard the junk that clogs your copy and muddies up your predictable results, because sometimes you swing and miss and sometimes you knock it out of the park. And how do you do that? You got to control attention from the start. So unfortunately, at this point, you know those two things, but you're still a bit foggy on like, how does it work? Okay. Whoops. Are you ready for the 5 boxes you need to check off to write 7-figure promos over and over? This is how it works, folks. Okay, here's the 5 boxes. We're going to do a pattern interrupt, trigger BS. We're going to introduce cred. We're going to tease our unique elements, and we're going to demonstrate results. I'm going to go through each of these with you now, okay? So first, pattern interrupt. Your pattern interrupt is not a sledgehammer. Okay. So first, we got to talk about what not to do, because this stuff sickens me. I hate this. This idea of so there's this quote from this movie 7, and Kevin Spacey's character says, to get someone's attention, you can't just tap them on the shoulder. You got to smash them in the face with a sledgehammer. Marketers took that and went wild. They went nuts with it. Now I see pattern interrupts. I see things popping up that are like, hey, I got you. Hey, now that I got you, I'm going to sell you something. Now that I got your attention, I'm going to teach you how to do X, Y, Z. Now that, I don't know if you've seen one of these pattern. Your pattern interrupt is not a sledgehammer. It's a call for engagement. You want to do one of two things. You want to force them to squint with some sort of visual. So you can say, hey, take a look at this thing, and you can show something on screen, get them to sort of squint for just a moment. You have that second to elaborate on that, or raise an eyebrow. So one of the things I'll also see is someone will throw up an outrageous photo or some sort of weird thing happening on screen, and then they'll completely pivot away from that thought. No, you want to use that to capture the attention. They want to expand on that. So for me, what I did is I said, I've developed the perfect copywriting system. And you say, what perfect copywriting system? And then I say, it's so simple or so easy. You check 5 boxes to make 7 figures. So I went from the pattern interrupt, expanded on it in the next line to trigger your skepticism. I want to trigger you to say bullshit. Okay, this is something I talked about, or I heard marketers talking about at an event. And they basically like, yeah, well, you don't want to scare them off. You don't want to go over the top. I call wrong. I say opposite. I don't want you thinking. I don't want you too comfortable. As soon as I got your attention and I elaborate, the next step when I'm elaborating is I want to force the objection. I want to force you to throw your guard up and call me out within 4 lines. If I raise your skepticism high enough, 100% of that attention, that very important, rare, and scarce thing that everybody wants, 100% of your focus is on one thought. Prove it. So I want to raise your guard. And whenever I have your guard raised, now guess what's going to happen? Now that I have forced you to call me out, you will deeply consider my credibility claims. So I've seen it before where someone just starts listing their cred. They start listing their resume ad nauseum at like the start of a promotion, or they do it in a section of copy. Just, oh, by the way, I worked here and I did this and I did this and I did this. The point is, cred is a counterbalance to that skepticism. When I have your attention locked in, and you're trying to call me out and you want to say, bullshit, guy, I don't believe you, then you're going to be evaluating very closely the next things that come out of my mouth to gauge whether that BS trigger could possibly be real. Remember, what's in it for me? How is this possible? So the next thing you're evaluating is for the possibility that this is real, okay? I'm not just listing my resume either. I'm dripping right on the heels of triggering that BS. So next, tease. Now, while I have your laser focused attention, I will begin dropping properties about my catalyst, my mechanism, and my force of nature behind the situation. I'm not explaining them to you. I'm describing them to you. All right. So 5 boxes. It's fast. It's easy. This is something copywriters also mess up, is they start explaining the product or the mechanism and explaining how it works. No, there's that comes way later. You don't do that at the start. Like, it took a long time to get the 5 boxes, right? So instead, you want to describe the properties of the mechanism. Again, 5 boxes, it's fast, it's easy, but there's 2 other things. There's 3 things in total: catalyst, mechanism, force, and nature. So why is there so much stuff that I have to try to stuff into these first couple lines? I'll give you a little, this is kind of where I got this idea from. So in this book, Made to Stick, it describes sticky ideas like Velcro, and your brain is like mesh. So your brain is like the soft part of Velcro, and then a sticky idea is like is the rough part of the Velcro. Okay. And the more hooks on your idea, the stickier it becomes. So if I can tease 3 different elements by describing each of them, I can create so many hooks that you can't walk away. And as a byproduct, I'm filling your brain up with the direction that I want this conversation to go. That last part's the most important part. Is, again, I'm not anticipating and overcoming your objections. I'm forcing your brain to consider the things that I'm going to want to describe later in my sales letter. I'm setting that foundation up. So your brain is too full to have your own mortal thoughts. You just have the thoughts that I planted in there so that I can tell you about this cool stuff at a later time. Okay. Also, by having 3 individual elements to tease, I have more copy firepower to draw from, so I don't become redundant. I'll always have fresh information to drop. Okay, that's another thing. People take teases and they don't tease. They don't expand on the thing that they're going to talk about. They just keep saying the same thing over and over until it's tired and it's not exciting any longer. But by having a couple different things to tease throughout, I can keep your rapt attention. Okay. So most copywriters I encounter fail to tease correctly and they lose the reader on page 1. But your entire success of your work depends on your very first pages. And I hope you'll start to grasp that. And I know we've gotten a little bit deep into the weeds with the practical stuff. I said I was going to teach you how to do this. So we just ran through those important things. Then the last thing you want to do is you're going to demonstrate the result. In moments, you've moved from skeptical. You've called me out, said BS, to hooked. And now you're kind of interested. What are the 5 boxes? Now you're weirdly convinced when you start seeing the results. And at this step, you are already considering the practical side of how it works. You're so wrapped in the questions that I forced that I now have full control of the conversation. And as long as I have full control of that conversation, same thing as having full control of the attention. And all of this happens in the very first couple lines, very specifically, very deliberately. And at that point, you are kind of bought in. Like emotionally, if at that point, if all those things happen within you, the sale is mine to lose. The only thing then I can do is screw it up. I can say something gaudy or something that discredits me or something off-putting. Really, I just got to not mess it up from basically those first couple lines to the end. I just got to not mess it up. And it's simple. It doesn't matter if it's financial. Again, does this look like a financial promo to you? It doesn't matter if it's bizarre. It doesn't matter if it's health. It doesn't matter if it's dating. It doesn't matter what your niche is. It's human nature. It's about control. It's about controlling the attention. That's a psychology thing. So if you control the attention, you control the sale. If you control the attention, you control your rates. And if you can control your rates, now you all of a sudden control your income. Because your rates go up, obviously your income goes up. And then once your income goes up, this is where things start to get wild. Then you have this weird control over your career. This is where all of a sudden, like I said earlier, recruiters start pounding down your door, and you can, since you already have control of your income, you can begin to name your price. You can begin saying, no, that actually doesn't feel very appealing to me. I want more money. Soon you'll be at a point where more money isn't really what you want. What you want is, maybe you want, like I wanted when I left Agora. I wanted to go somewhere where I could help grow a business, start a team, try and implement my own systems and processes, and turn this into this copy, this gray nebulous cloud of how copywriting works. I wanted to turn that into like a mechanical process. Honestly, the inspiration for this was I watched that movie Founder with Michael Keaton. It's about Ray Kroc at McDonald's. And the way that he showed us how the Speedy system worked at McDonald's, where someone would ask for an order, they'd turn around, grab the cheeseburger, turn back, and you'd have a cheeseburger. I wanted to do that with copy. I was like, how can I make it so that you bring an idea to me, bring a guru to me, bring a product to me, and I'll say, thank you very much, I'll be right back. And I turn around and there's $1 million promo. That was my goal. And that was what my career became about. Now, money just followed because I already had control of the income. Then I could control my career. And then beyond that, you can control your niche. Now you get to call the shots. You get to pick your products, or you get to pick what projects that you're going to work on. And you can say, all right, I'm going to give this guy an opportunity. And then you can start hiring. Then you can start partnering. Then you become a name. Then you go to masterminds. Then you get to do all these doors fly open. Whenever you start to control your career, this is sort of the dream that you don't know yet. Like there's some people on here who probably don't have, they still just want to control their rates, or they just want to control their income. The dream you don't know you have yet is whenever you have your income on lock and you have your career on lock and you're like, okay, what now? That's when you will almost be overwhelmed with opportunity. All right. Now, the only thing you won't be able to control is your name spreading around the industry like wildfire. People will talk. You'll also get a constant flood of LinkedIn and Facebook messages. So if there's anybody who's waiting on a reply from me right now, I'm sorry that I have not gotten back to you. I also want to say that I did, for real, I've deleted Instagram from my phone, so I'm not ignoring you. I just don't check that either. And then also, another thing you can't control is people who brag they worked with you and knew you back when you were small fry, back when you were in your early game. You probably won't be able to control your generosity when you see your real friends or visit family. I think this is kind of what I was talking about when you control your career and stuff. As a result of sort of being able to use these 5 checkboxes to sort of predictably get the results that I want and need to advance my career, I have been able to move friends, family, relatives across the country, give them jobs, give them opportunities, give them a completely new career path, like teach them things, help them out, move them up. Like that has been probably that's a lot of where my focus is now. I've helped people that I worked with at past companies come over and start, I helped some of those writers, guys I had met at events. I brought them on the team. I got them their first $1 million launch. I got some of them their first $1 million day, 7-figure day. Okay. Another thing you can't control, your smile when you're walking. You're taking a walk and you think, wow, this has happened to me. Wow. How did this amazing life happen to me? Who am I? You can call it imposter syndrome. You can call it being humble. One day you're going to stop and be like, what happened? Like all of this just happened to me so fast. How did I go from that to this? How did my entire life completely shift? And my experience was, once upon a time, Ben Settle sent me an email that had me shaking and wishing I had $67 to buy some ancient videos, some old recordings of some interview with a copy guru. I remember the $67 rocked my world. I could not come up with it. I didn't have it. I was just broke. This is before I got into like my job, trying to learn copy, and I got paid to do it. This was a weird time in my life, but thanks to the proven system I used to pump out 7-figure promos over and over. All right. So I couldn't afford a $67 course or whatever it was, interview video or something. I remember it stuck with me because it made me depressed that I couldn't afford it. I felt like a loser. I actually felt really bad about myself for a while after that. But now I turn down copy chief roles. I turn down top positions at top publishers in the world, right? Some of the biggest guys out there. Now I get invited to these 5-figure masterminds to strategize with the marketers who were my heroes, my role models, my idols. And I get to do this as a free speaker. Again, I went to this mastermind recently, the top 1 mastermind, and you can ask anybody there. I was sweating bullets. I was like, who am I to be at this thing? How did I end up here? Why am I here right now? I just follow these 5 boxes. I just check off. I'm not special. I thought anyone could do this. And then, there were a couple people who were like, dude, no, this information is really valuable. I didn't know this. And to me, I guess I just took it for granted because it's what I've been doing every day for years now. And so again, I want to offer this to you because these were my heroes. These were mentors of mine. These were people I watched on the internet. All right. Now I have their actual personal numbers in my phone and I can actually talk to them. They call me and they say, hey, what's going on? I heard you were doing such and such. Where are you doing now? And like, that blows my mind that was even within the realm of possibility. I thought that someone on a screen on a YouTube channel, they were like this untouchable guru at the top of Guru Mountain, but they're just people. And if you can bring value and you can learn a valuable skill, they will want to talk to you and they will want to swap ideas and they'll want to talk shop. It's incredible. I don't download bootleg recordings off pirate sites anymore that were extremely hazardous for my computer's health. Now I actually get to sit at the table with these people and talk shop. It's the most incredible experience once you go through this. And again, once you've got these sorts of tools, for me, it happened very, very fast. And it all started after this realization about controlling the attention. So how fast can this change your entire life? So for everybody, again, I'm the architect. I'm handing you the blueprint, okay? It's up to you to swing the hammer. So I can just share my experience, how it went for me. October 2nd, 2017, okay? Right over 4 years, right? I got my first start, my first day at Agora Financial. October 2nd, 2017, I had $0 in royalties. October 2nd, 2017, I was nobody, all right? 2018, boom, I sold some stuff. I'm the $7.1 million Agora prodigy. This guy came out of nowhere. He just started selling like crazy. He's an animal. All right. So fast forward to late 2019. November, I think it was November 1st, 2019. That's when I had that call when I discovered, oh, there's a way to manipulate and hold this attention to keep it focused so that they can't walk away. Not only to focus it. I don't want to focus it. I want to control it and push it in the direction that I want this conversation to go. I don't want it going anywhere but where I say it can go, okay? And then I make that, look, late 2019, November of 2019, what happens in 2020? We get this system figured out. I start sharing it with my writers. We balloon a small pub. We were on, I think we got right to 11 million in 2019, but from 11 million into $50 million in 2020. And during that time, I took 5 different writers, dudes that I recruited, brought onto my team, showed the system. I took them to their first $1 million launch. Some of them, their first $1 million days. And I also paid out over $1 million in royalties to these people. And again, these are not A-listers. They are now. These are not the dudes that you see at these conferences or like on stage. These are not the dudes that like, they don't have like their own channels or products. These were just dudes that I recruited that I saw promise, and they were hard workers. And I was like, if you can just implement this system and work hard, I can help you succeed. And that's the result that we had in 2020. It's 2021 now. I should have put a slide for 2021. In 2021, I took all that and I basically said, all right, I'm gonna go do this on my own. I'm gonna go share this with more people. And I'm hoping that, because we're in November of 2021 now, I'm hoping that in 2022, I can be the dude who showed more copywriters and hell, offer owners, business owners to their 6- and 7-figure dreams, more of them than anyone else in the history of this industry. That's what I'm seeking to accomplish in the next year. I want to be that dude. I want to be the absolute go-to resource. Okay. And how do I do that? How do you do that? How do I get those testimonials and get those success stories that I want from you guys? Well, it starts with mastering how to use control. It starts, and this is crucial, dude. It starts at the very start. Like you have to do it from the very beginning of the conversation. That's when you start taking control. Take control right away. It starts with your first 7 pages. Okay. Right away, the first lines, the first 7 pages. You get the sale or you lose it in your first 7 pages. And today I'm introducing a brand new, what do I want to call it? A brand new, what do I want to call it, guys? Course. Call it a course? I don't want to call it a course. Probably should have rehearsed what I was going to call it. It's more of a training system. I'm going to introduce this brand new training system, 7 pages, 7 figures. Why I don't want to call it a course? Because this is actually the onboarding that I used for my own copy team. It wasn't like a course that I was selling to people. This is how I was training my copywriters. It's training. All right. So this is the 5 boxes checklist plus a handy cheat sheet and rules of thumb. So you're going to get the 5 boxes checklist inside of demonstration videos. So I've got 6 hours. That's a lot. I don't expect you to sit there and consume all that. But what it is I've gone through each box and I've picked out multiple examples of these sorts of things in action, along with showing them as they check off the 5 boxes for these 7-figure promotions. I'm going to show you how you must check those off across multiple $1 million promos. I'm also going to include 2 other bonus check boxes that were not in this presentation. So these are sort of like amplifiers. The way that these work is whenever you start checking off these boxes, you can drop in these techniques to blow up that opportunity. You can expand on it. You can make it larger, and you can actually, it's like injecting hype with these two things, if you do these extra two bonus items, you take that attention that you have and you up the intensity. Okay. If you can up the intent, I mean, again, the sale is made or lost in the first 7 pages. Okay. Then of course, I'm going to give you accompanying notes for all lessons that you can study on the go. So you don't have to be like glued to a screen. You can print all this stuff out. How are you going to use it? Also going to include the bribes and fascinations blueprint. Okay. So there's two things here. Bribes and fascinations, they're different. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to hook your readers to stick around with direct bribes. A direct bribe is sort of like a tit for tat. Stick around and you will learn. Okay. But you can actually supercharge bribes. And the way that you do that is instead of saying stick around and I'll give you XYZ, you can turn these into fascinations that are meant to very deliberately provoke curiosity. What we're talking about here is sort of like, you know, saying like the weird system, the weird $5 system for generating 7-figure promos over and over and over. So stuff like that, where it's less direct. That's more technical, a little bit more advanced technique, but that is the supercharged version of a direct bribe. You're gonna get this included with 7 pages, 7 figures. The perfect sales argument one sheet. All right, sales made in the first 7 pages. It's easy breezy from here. Okay, so now I'm gonna give you this one sheet here. Just refer to this page for guide on how to continue to make your copy so bulletproof the readers can't say no. Remember, it's yours to lose. At this point, you just don't screw it up, man. Like you get it right. Use the boxes and you're going to see in the 5 checkbox examples and 7 pages, 7 figures, and then use this to just make sure you don't lose the sale. And then to make things even easier, I made an implementation video because just the one sheet needs context. So I created a video sort of walking you through the one sheet, how to use it and implement it. And again, this is me. Look, I look like a different person. I got to have a long beard then too, but I had more hair. But yeah, so this is back. I recorded this for my in-house team to teach them how to do this. So you're actually going to get, yeah, it says right there, the exact recording I share with my full-time team before they started writing $1 million promos and collecting their own 5-figure royalty check. So again, the examples I showed you earlier, I'm giving you the actual training. That's why I don't want to call this a course. This is the onboarding. This is how you write at the level that we were writing. It's not course is a lame word. Okay, amazing headlines on command. So this is something I really like. So this is something that I learned from somebody else. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that I developed that we're talking about today, I developed while like watching a gazillion sales letter breakdowns or performing a gazillion sales letter breakdowns, watching promos and sort of figuring out the patterns. Well, this was like information conveyed directly to me by Justin Blackman. He's the guy from Pretty Fly Copywriting, AKA the 100 headlines guy. So he wrote 100 headlines for 100 days. That's 10,000 headlines. So this dude had to do this every day, committed to it, and he did it. So by necessity, he had to start figuring out ways to come up with outside of the box ideas for headlines. And when he started doing that, he came up with all these really cool techniques for really cool headlines. And I think what I was most impressed with is this was a guy who was sort of operating under his own steam and had to figure it out, again, by necessity. He wasn't like coached or trained on these techniques. He had developed them. So I had never seen these tactics at any of the big publishing houses that I had worked with or worked for. I had never seen this from like another copy chief. No one had ever taught me this stuff. So when I heard this stuff, I was hearing it for the first time and I was like, that's wild, dude. Like I had my first breakthrough. I said by minute 6, it is like within the first 5 minutes, I was like, I wanted to leave the interview and start using the thing that he had just taught me. So endless copy ideas, video tutorials. I should have called this endless copy well, because what really this is supposed to be is a well that you can continually dip into for new copy ideas. So that way you can come up with new angles to write different things. And I want it to be with you on the go and something that you can use and pull new ideas from forever and ever and ever and ever. So again, I'm going to show you a bunch of videos. There's 4 videos here. I'll basically show you how to build that resource so that you can come back and recycle and not just recycle, because redevelop is probably a better thing. Redevelop your repository for new ideas so that you can keep creating new ideas over and over and over and over. Okay, infinite releads. Okay, so we talked about leads basically, right? The first 7 pages. All right, so writing fresh leads for old promos is an insanely overlooked, untapped sort of revenue producer. The problem is most people aren't very great at writing leads to begin with. So how do they write a re-lead if they don't? So yeah, it's like a circular problem. Like, how do I write re-leads that are good if I don't even know how to write leads that are good, right? So once you've got the 5 boxes checked off, now what's really cool, remember, you win or lose that sale in the first 5 to 7 pages. With the re-leads, I'm going to show you a couple different tactics where you can just simply repurpose content or quickly create new content about 1 to 2 pages of copy, okay? You put that at the start of your lead, and all of a sudden you have a refresh promo that has new life, and all of a sudden starts generating more royalties out of nowhere. And it really takes, the cool thing about this is it gives you the same sort of results as, it's like reviving copy that sort of has fatigued. Gives you the same sort of results as writing an entirely new 30-page promo, but you only wrote 2 pages of copy. So that's monster. That's massive. Like, that's, again, one of the most overlooked, untapped opportunities in the copy game is writing re-leads. And most people, I know, because on my Copy Squad Inner Circle, how I figured that I needed to create this was because people were asking me and they simply just didn't know how to do it. And so when I described it to them, they were like, I had never thought to do that. And it was like, that's really valuable. I'm gonna give that away. All right. 2 copy insight videos each week. Okay. So whenever you get 7 pages, 7 figures, I'm going to go ahead and send you every Tuesday and Thursday. So here's another thing. I'm still in the game, dude. I'm running an agency now, working with big multi-million-dollar financial publishers. So I'm still in the game. I'm still chiefing, still writing. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm just going to share new videos of things that I learned on the job, writing copy, new techniques, new insights, right? Those are coming to you via email every Tuesday and Thursday, and a chance to work on my team. This is the thing I'm most excited about. This is what I'm really getting to. Like, the course is cool. I don't like to call it a course. The training is cool. It is training. It'll get you ramped up to a point where you can write at the same level that we were. But just having this product makes you a shoo-in to join my copy agency, because you're going to have all the training. You're going to have all the prerequisites to get started. More on that in just a second. Okay, so check it out. Here's everything that you get when you join 7 pages, 7 figures. Let's recap real quick. 7 pages, 7 figures. Obviously, I'm going to teach you the 5 check boxes plus the 2 bonus boxes. This is done with like dozens of examples of each of these things in action, plus PDFs, handouts, plus notes, so you can have all this stuff like in writing in front of you. Copy insight videos we just covered every Tuesday and Thursday straight to your email. Perfect sales argument. Again, once you've won the sale on those first 7 pages, I'm going to show you how to keep it going to the end. Implementation video explaining that perfect sales argument one sheet so that you don't have, so I can close all the gaps in your knowledge there and help you out with that. Amazing headlines on command with me and Justin Blattman. That's an incredible video. We'll give you a lot of weird ideas for like generating ideas very quickly and on a dime, coming up with new fresh stuff. The bribes and fascinations blueprint, so you can get more hooks into your copy, get more reasons for people to stick around to the very end. Endless copy idea video tutorial, which is going to, again, show you how to create an endless well of copy ideas. Infinite re-leads, so you can write re-leads again and again and again and again. That's a lot of stuff, right? Okay, now, at this point, I could flex, I could crunch, I could be a high ticket guy, right? I could say, just these 5 boxes could offer you, okay, so let's say the 5 boxes get you $1 million promotion, which is essentially what we want to use the 5 boxes to do, is generate a 7-figure promo. So $1 million at 4%, $40,000 royalty check. So the value of the 5 boxes, potentially $40,000 if you implement it, have a 4% royalty, and you write $1 million promo. But there is enough flexing from high ticket gurus in this space. So what the point of this is, unlike those guys, my courses, I use it again, I should have come up with another word. My courses are not designed to make me a living, okay? That's really important. Earlier, I mentioned my Copy Squad agency. You see, I make my living, I make my money by practicing the craft. I make my money by copy chiefing and copywriting new projects. That sometimes gets me into trouble because a lot of my YouTube fans chew me out for not having a more professional setup, but I'm actually not a pro YouTuber. I'm just giving away my content and ideas, my best insights, just as like a passion project, just for fun, just as a way to teach and learn and grow. So it's like, I don't actually have the most professional YouTube setup. I'm just like, I'm in the side room of a cigar bar right now with like a microphone and a camera. That's how I'm doing it right now. But as a copy chief, and this is important, I make my money by writing copy and creating new millionaires. As a copy chief, my money is derived from my writer's success. The better I can get them trained up, the more 7-figure promotions they write, the more money comes my way, right? Selling courses, selling products, selling a $12 book, Like, that's not how you get rich. Okay. So the information side of my business is meant to just coach you up, but for real. Like, again, I'm not just trying to sell a course so I can sell you another course, so I can sell you another course to sell you a mastermind, to sell you with this. No, I'm actually trying to give you my onboarding and training so I can legitimately train you up. These are the same onboarding videos I give my full-time copywriters before we go writing for our paying clients. Okay. So again, we work with large multi-million dollar pubs. Their pockets are deep and they will pay handsomely for good copy. So it is my goal to get my in-house training to the world, to get it out to other copywriters so I can teach you my systems before you even join my team. All right. As a result, that way, hopefully we will work together. And then you can walk in the door and hit the ground running because you've already immersed yourself in the system. I don't have to spend 6 months training you. You already have the system. You've already unlocked all the benefits of knowing the 5 checkboxes. And I also hope that by opening these doors for you, because some of you are going to be pro copywriters, some of you are offer owners, some of you are established, your copy chiefs or senior writers. Okay. I hope that by opening these doors for you and showing you this system, it creates reciprocity. I hope that you will eagerly offer your rare and valuable skills to our agency. So if you're if you're a staff copywriter, right, you're making the middling royalties or even a junior, and all of a sudden you jump up to the top of the hierarchy at your publisher, right? All of a sudden you take this system and you start crushing it. Well, I'm hoping that there's reciprocity baked in. You got 2 options. You keep crushing it at your publisher, or you might say, I want to actually work directly with Kyle. And I'm hoping you choose the latter. I hope you bring those skills to the agency and work with us and our clients. So that's why I plan to offer these invaluable resources at prices so low. They kick back enough for me to pay my team and set up and maintain these funnels. So I actually had to start bringing on people so that I can scale an agency and info pub so I can get these trainings out. So I do have to pay like salaries. I do have to like pay for ClickFunnels and Kajabi and all the tools now. So that's overhead. I've created overhead for myself. So I want the courses to pay for my overhead. But ultimately what I want to do is I want to make the actual money from helping you make 7-figure promos so that it'll go to the agency. All right. And then everybody wins that way. So, but I do need to pay my people. I still won't be charging anywhere near the $40,000 that this information could generate for you. I won't ask you to pay $20,000 or even $5,000, which honestly, 100% no doubt, like just to get me on the phone, like to give you my actual onboarding from my trainings, you know, like using my in-house writers, like I could charge like, you know, a $10,000-$20,000 fee to come consult and just say these exact same modules in front of a room, like on camera or something. But so $5,000 would just be a steal. Instead, you can have all this. It's waiting for you right now. It's only $597. You can go to copysquad.net/7 pages and access everything you see here. You can get access to it right now. All the stuff that I said, all the $5,000, $20,000, $40,000 worth of value. I'll even remove all the risk for you right now too. Okay. Got to have one of these. If you aren't entirely happy with the value of 7 pages of 7 figures, simply send an email to customer service@copysquad.net for a full, no questions asked refund. So boom, no risk for you. I will say, this is one of those things like you could take the course, steal it basically by getting a refund in like next 5 minutes. Just at that point, you know, I guess don't come try to work for the agency if you're on that list of people who do that. So we've got I want talented writers on my team ASAP. So I have something to reward folks who get started today. For a very limited group of viewers, you'll be offered to get an instant $200 savings on 7 pages to 7 figures. So if you go to copysquad.net/7 pages now and collect your savings before it's too late, get $200 off. You just have to act fast. These are only available for the first 15 folks who purchase today. I want you to start collecting those fat royalty checks as soon as humanly possible. I want you generating with my special proprietary system 7-figure promotions. And again, this is like, let me point this out. This is my system. I did this in-house privately at a company. When I was working with other writers, I figured this stuff out. So it's my special system. I developed for writing killer 7-figure promotions and practically guaranteeing your sale in your first 7 pages. Developed it just for that. So I literally just recorded how to execute the strategy step by step. I recorded it for my in-house team. So there is not another copywriter or copy chief on planet Earth who can share these exact same insights with you. They are unique to me and they weren't available until just now, right? But once these first 15 spots are taken, that deal will be completely off the table. It will not come back, all right? So you can go to copysquad.net/7 pages now and collect your savings before it's too late. Now, I've already highlighted this over and over and over again. My favorite part of the system has to be its simplicity. Again, I think probably the biggest mistake rookie copywriters and junior copywriters make over and over again is they refuse to do the least. They do too much. They make what should be simple, they make it very complex. There's a quote, and I wish I knew. I think it's like I think it's like a French guy or something. So I can't remember his name, but the quote is like, perfection is not when no more can be added, but when no more can be taken away. And I think that's what I was seeking to do with this system is like, how can I get this down to the bare bones, what we can do to set up success as quickly as possible. And again, at the beginning of this presentation, I showed a little GIF of a scroll of my LinkedIn profile with all the sales that we generated. And you saw some months where 3, 4, 5 promotions launched in a month. And that's because we kept it simple. And many of them 7-figure, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, somewhere like $6 million in revenue, because we were able to keep it so simple, not complicate it. So we didn't have to come reinvent the wheel every single time. I think that for me is like a big pet peeve, is when someone tries to complicate something that is actually very simple. When it comes to psychology, that's the thing. Like, people think copy, is it's no different. It's just psychology. Like it does have a bit of a specific, there's a bit of an art to it, but the reality is psychology is psychology is psychology. It's quite consistent, as is what I really want to say. So whenever people come, we're at 13, we got 13 sales. Okay, there's two spots left at the discounted rate. They're going fast, I guess. All right. So it's kind of wild to think that just 5 checkboxes can produce such tremendous potential. All right. That's what I really want to stress, to do the least thing. Okay. But I actually show you dozens of examples of 7-figure writing that checks off these boxes, so you have tons of swipes to use. Okay. Yeah. So inside the package, inside the program, I should have called program, inside the program, so the training program, I'm going to show you a ton of examples and stuff that demonstrate the simplicity of this. 2 of my favorite examples from the program are like, all of this is checked off in the first 1 to 1.5 pages, maybe 2. And those are my favorite promos, man. They absolutely kill it within 2 pages. They absolutely have you hooked and ready to buy, like, before they even get through the next couple pages. And then, like, again, once you get that, it's yours to lose. Oh yeah. You'll also be getting a PDF swipe of all the promos we cover in our lessons. You'll be getting all the swipes, everything you need to kind of like review, check it out on the go. It's over. Okay, so we just finished. Okay, so if you're on the order form now and your experience breaks, that means that we're updating the order form. The first 15 spots have disappeared. So the order form's updating, so please the page shouldn't be broken. We're just updating it. Okay, that way you can start building your own collection of 7-figure leads for inspiration. Okay, so go to copysquad.net/7 pages now and collect your savings before it's too late. I'll also be demonstrating 2 bonus checkboxes that create even more hooks for your pitch. Okay, these bonus boxes amplify the effects of the first 5, making your reader ready to whip out their wallet in just the first couple pages. And I hope you've already realized, as you sat through this presentation, this strategy obviously works wonders in any niche. Okay, this is not a financial promo, yet we already sold out of our fast action bonus. It's gone, meaning you could be writing about financial, health, dating, spirituality, and still reap tens of thousands of dollars in royalties on a monthly basis. Okay, so all of this is waiting for you. And it's a lot of stuff. Just reading it earlier made my throat hurt. I was running out of breath. It's available now for $5.97. The first 15 people have already claimed the $200 savings, but you can still go to copysquad.net/7 pages, access everything you see here now. Okay. And then once you do that, you can use this unfair advantage to explode your copy output for an insane income. Or just, okay, here's a cool story. Or you could just write a couple of hits and live off your passive royalty stream. So I knew a guy who wrote, he had a couple minor promos, but he had one monster hit. And the dude straight up just vanished. Like, he just collected his, like, because you keep collecting the royalties. Like, it's part of your contract. You wrote a piece of copy, you get royalties until they stop running it. So he collects the royalties. First off, he got a big fat paycheck, like multi 5 figures, like someone's yearly salary. And so he just vanished and went, and like, I remember checking in with him every once in a while, like, hey, how you doing? He's like learning guitar, playing a lot of video games, hanging out with his friends and his family. And the wild part is, so yeah, he was basically living off this, not writing any longer. And then when the promo fatigued, he actually still had enough left over. He was gone for like, I want to say 2 years. 2 years he took off. And but the demand for copy doesn't go away. So he just came back and just picked up where he left off and just started writing again. But yeah, like, it doesn't, 1 7-figure promo, like, it kind of gets overlooked, like the impact that one of those can have on your life. And if you can do it, like consistently over and over and over and over, that means you can choose to do whatever makes you most happy. For me personally, I told you the story, dude. I left my job. I left my guaranteed money, which was good money. And I decided to go do this on my own because it got to a point where it's like, now what? What do I want to do? What do I actually want to do for fun? What makes me happy? What makes me fulfilled? And for me, it's working with my buddies who are just doing this because, I don't know, they enjoy it. They're in their free time helping me do this, setting this webinar up, and we're smoking cigars and kicking back and just having a good time. And that's because at this stage of my life, thanks to the system, it'll take me a very long time to go broke. I'd have to do something messed up for me to run out of resources. So the point is, you could finally have complete and absolute control over every aspect of your life. Remember what I told you earlier. You control your rates. And once you control your rate, you can control your income, okay? Because then it's just a factor of how much promos you put out. Once you control your income, then you control your career. And that's where things get wild, because now you're not talking about money anymore. This is the dream you don't know you have yet, right? Some of you right now, it's money. Once you have the money, then the doors start opening. Then the things like, I've always thought of doing XYZ. I've always wanted to go do this. I've always wanted to just disappear for 2 years. That's part of your career. So I had someone offer me a job and I was like, well, how can I help your pub? What would you really want from me? And he said, well, you're the copy chief. You're the one with the talent. You really just tell us what you want to do. Write your ticket. And that was like an eye opener for me. He said, whatever you want is what we're going to do. And so I could choose my job. I could pick how much I come to work. I could pick how many calls I go to, how many writers I work with. All of a sudden, those doors start swinging open. And I think that's one of those things that I can tell you, because I feel like I've heard that too. I've probably heard that from the gurus and stuff. But until I experienced it myself, it was a weird sort of position to be in where it's like, what do I do? I don't even know. I usually just go to work and someone tells me what to do. So it's wild. That's the dream you don't know you have yet. That's what I want to say about that. That's an incredible experience. Okay. Go to copysquad.net/7 pages now. The savings are gone. I apologize for having all the slides say that. I didn't know it would go that fast. For me, I was absolutely shocked at what this meant in real life. I grew up poor, like straight up. I never called the shots. This is what I was just saying. I always had to ask for favors and handouts. And again, it was embarrassing. Like that story I told you about. Ben Settle sent me an email that had like $67 package. I was actually living for free at my girlfriend's house because I didn't have a job or any money, and I couldn't afford the 67. I mean, I was embarrassed. I was just constantly embarrassed about money. So when multi-million-dollar publishers and pro marketers started asking if I could spare a couple minutes to talk to them, again, this is a weird paradigm shift I wasn't ever expecting in my lifetime. My world was rocked. But that's the power of this unfair advantage. If you can simplify it, and make it mechanical, it becomes repeatable. And once it's repeatable, it has scalability, okay? That's the power of having an insanely valuable skill that is also insanely rare. And that's the kind of life I want to offer for you starting today. All this is waiting for you right now for $597 for real. Access everything you see here now. Go to copysquad.net/7 pages. Don't forget, I have used this system to personally write full $1 million promotions in a weekend. This system has helped a young intern in his 20s. I also forgot to mention, did I mention he was in his 20s? 20-year-olds going from making nothing to writing copy that brought in over $40 million in sales. That's what I'm talking about. Game changer. He has a lot of life left. He has a lot of career left. He's in his 20s and he's already accomplished this using this system. He gave me a video testimonial. I showed it to you earlier. It allowed one man who had trouble reading, he has dyslexia, generate $1 million launch in his first 6 months of using it. Some of my writers were from the Agora companies, and they had never had $1 million launch in their career. Well, within the first 6 months using this system, one of them had $1 million promo, and two of them had $1 million day, 7 figures in a day. I can't stress this. That's a boatload of royalties in just one single 24-hour period. That's the kind of future I want for you. That's what I want to offer you today, which is why I'm offering you everything you need to get started right here, right now, today. Just remember, those 15 spots are gone. I'm sorry about that. So just go to copysquad.net/7 pages right now and sign up today. Did you have something for me? Did you have something? Got some questions? I think I got a couple more slides. I have no problem taking all the risk on my own shoulders with the money back guarantee. I'm confident when you see the earning potential after you write to control attention, right? Okay, when you see the earning potential, when you shift your paradigm where you're specifically writing to control attention, this investment will seem like peanuts, okay? Remember, I just told you I had a dude produce $40 million in revenues. Oh, let me tell you something else. Copywriters have the best deal in human history. Copywriters take their royalties from top line, okay? So forget when people say, well, yeah, but how much profit? Yeah, but how much spend? For a copywriter, don't care, doesn't matter. That's a business owner's problem, right? For copywriters, you have the best deal on planet Earth. I don't want to say you don't care because we are paid net refunds, but it's up to the business owner to be smart about their spend and their profits, right? But for copywriters, we take off of the top line, net refunds, okay? So you have a guy who produced $40 million in revenue, and you had another couple guys who produced $1 million in a day, right? When you see the earning potential when you write to control attention, all right, you will see this 597 and be like, pleh, right? This investment will seem like peanuts. The return that you get from knowing how to do this and do it right, it will feel like peanuts. This is not just an income boosting opportunity. Like once you master this system, you could be in the 1% of skilled copywriters. Here's why I say that so confidently. I'm talking like really, like truly 1% of skilled copywriters. Because again, most copywriters don't have a repeatable system. They swing. A lot of times they miss, sometimes they knock it out, and they can never tell you exactly, oh, it was just, I just had this idea. It came to me in the shower or on a walk or when I was riding my bike or I was taking a drive. I had this idea. And then all of a sudden, poof, just money started falling from the sky. That's not a repeatable process. And whenever you submit copy to these people, even if they're your boss, and then that's their answer. It's like, oh, this idea, I don't like it. How do you fix it? How do you make it consistent? How do you make it repeatable? That drives me nuts, man. I've seen it. I've interacted with it. It's not a way to grow as a copywriter. It's not a way to control your income. Again, I'm all about the systems and control, baby. So once you master the system, you can surpass the dudes who even had these big monster hits because you actually have a system for going at it again and again and again and again. And for them, they're waiting for something to happen on a walk in the woods or something and just poof, inspiration or something to strike, okay? And if you use this system to later join my Copy Squad agency, this could be a career changer, right? So we're talking about income. That's what I'm talking about. I want to talk about career. I want to talk about changing your career and then controlling your life. Like once you control your career, you automatically also control your life. I had something that says control your niche. I should have put control your life because ultimately what you can do is then you can make your own schedule because no one's going to tell you no if you can come to work and drop a 7-figure promotion. No one's going to tell you what to do, man. You do what you want. You're the dude who comes in the door and 7 figures falls from the sky. You just need a repeatable system. But I would move fast if I were you. You're not the only one who follows my work. You're definitely not the only one on this webinar right now. You're not the only one who follows my work and is seeing this page. Remember, this system took a small publisher to over 50 million bucks in a year. So the word will spread fast. And it's only a matter of time before your peers start putting this method into practice themselves. So the sooner you get started, the sooner you can dominate. But wait for everybody else to figure this out, and could be you left in the dust while everyone else dominates with this system. And if you want that coveted spot on the Copy Squad agency, every second you wait is another qualified applicant sent in before yours. So you have 2 options now, okay? Option 1, you go your own way. You keep buying the courses and you read the books. You read the books that have been out there forever. The same books that everybody's read, right? These books have been out there forever, and yet everyone's still struggling. Did you ever consider that maybe the books don't work? Those, like, would you be here? Like, okay, I'm going to get on a soapbox if I keep going down that rabbit hole. But yeah, you can go buy all those rehashed books that have upsells baked into them, like ad nauseum, endlessly, because they're written by copywriters. I don't want to say anything else. Anyway, keep buying the courses and reading the books that have been out there forever and keep getting exactly what you got all along. Or option 2, level up. Get in on the brand new proprietary system I've created to train copywriters up on my super simple method for writing 7-figure promos over and over. Option 2 is to write fast, write beautifully, get noticed, collect monster royalties. Go to copysquad.net/7 pages now and collect and collect 7 pages to 7 figures. All right, and that actually concludes the presentation. Alexander, you say we got some
Yeah, we got like about 10 or so.
10 questionrinos.
First one is, can I use this for emails, Facebook ads, and landing pages, or is this only for long form sales?
That's a good question. So the question is, can I use this for emails, Facebook ads, landing pages? I'm going to say, so can you use it? The broad strokes answer is yes, because I'm teaching you about attention, right? The whole point of the box is to manipulate and control and direct attention. So the short answer is yes, absolutely. Because here's the thing. I spend, man, I think I have 2 videos on just the pattern interrupt, maybe 3. Because people do it so wrong. So that video, or that, we call it module itself, right? That handles email. Okay, so email subject lines and your opening lines. That's basically, you know, the analogous for your pattern interrupt in a long. And when you know the principles of what you're doing, it converts into email. And there's a module on teasing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, everyone messes up teasing. Everyone gets teasing wrong. It's so bad. It's so frustrating to read bad teasing. Emails are just teasing. So, okay, so there's a whole module on how to tease a property. So, okay, I'm glad you asked this question, and I'm glad you told me that. So when you have let's say you're hired to write an email. Let's say there's a promotion out there or a product or order form. The way that you can very quickly do this is you can kind of skim something about the product, the bullets, or the promotion itself. And what you're sort of looking for is sort of like a quirky little idea or a single element of the product or promotion, okay? And then what you can do is you can write an email, about 100 to 150 words. And all that you have in that email is you take that one thing and you expand and you tease around it. And the way that I teach how to tease is you don't explain it, you describe it, okay? So you can do that for about 100 to 150 words and it will get clicks. But the problem is most people use what I call poor man's intrigue because they don't know how to tease. So what they do instead is they abuse the word this and they just talk directly about the thing. They say, you know, this thing will make you rich. This is the biggest secret known to mankind. And this will make you much more handsome and attractive to the opposite sex. And this will make you the most successful person that everybody knows. Click here now, right? So those are just sorts of like, again, that's poor man's intrigue where you're sort of just teasing, the word, you're abusing the word this, then you're just benefit salad, and it's garbage. If you can learn how to like accurately tease, or not accurately, but appropriately tease something so that it becomes like what is he talking about? I have to know. Like that is in itself. So that's the cool part. That I had to simplify this to 5 boxes for the point of this presentation for the webinar. But each of the 5 boxes is a very, I could have gone into more depth maybe in the presentation. Each of the 5 boxes is like a really powerful psychological trigger. And they each have like this execution that when done correctly, done smoothly, is riveting, is eye-opening. And that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy, is like when I have one of those moments. That's why I really like the Amazing Headlines on Command bonus thingy with Justin Blackman, because he just straight drop things on me that I had never heard before. And those are the things that excite me most. So I think, when you get into 7 pages, 7 figures, you're going to hear me talk about copy in a way that I will anticipate you've never heard before. And I kind of know this because having gone to like the mastermind recently and talking with pro level marketers, when I started presenting things like NESB, like new, easy, safe, and big, and I started presenting things like the beats of a sales letter, when I started arguing with people, like I was like yelling about pattern interrupts, because I'm very passionate about pattern interrupts and how people are misusing them. So the point is, for an email, pattern interrupts would be huge. Teasing is like almost the entire email, so that's a big module you'll want to get into. For landing pages, it's also very similar. So in the modules on teasing, I teach you how to tease your catalyst, your mechanism, and your force of nature. Your force of nature, I'll go into that inside the course, what a force of nature is. But when you do a landing page, like you can get above, you can maintain above 30%. And it depends, like for 30% on a big pub with like paid traffic, that's pretty good. You can get above 40%, that's great, right? So you can do a landing page, a long form landing page, like the email box, section of copy, and then like a guru section or a personality section or something. And what you do in each of those sections is you simply tease each of those properties. And what's cool is when you know how to tease correctly, you have like this simple idea of this one thing, like the mechanism, right? But you end up expanding that into about 5 or 6 lines that are very compelling. And then you just cut it off and you move to the catalyst. And then you have about 3 or 4 lines about why it's very compelling. You cut that off. So when you're writing landing pages, knowing how to tease those elements is like the entire game. Like that's the whole game when it comes to landing pages. You're just teasing the mechanism, catalyst, and the force of nature. That's all landing pages. So yeah, it'll help you with those things. Yes, absolutely.
Is this a good system to replace having a mentor?
Is this a good system to replace a mentor?
Yeah, I don't want to say you need a mentor to succeed in this business.
Okay. So I would say, okay. Okay, so they're saying you need to have a mentor to succeed in this business. I would say like having a mentor, having a mentor is really great, but like there's so many opportunities for mentorship out there. And whenever you work with a client, oftentimes if they've been in the game for a while, they know some things, they know some stuff that they can share with you. So what I mean by that is this system will allow you to sort of approach people and have this very specific kind of conversation where you can start talking about what you want to do. Like, here's what we want to do. And what it does is it doesn't eliminate the need for, like, a mentor is great. And it depends on what level of your career, what kind of mentor you need. Like, I've been the chief since 2019, early 2019 or something. So my mentors became people who knew the trials of like managing a team. I stopped having people I could go to for copy. And then instead, I started submitting my copy to my own writers. And I've always submitted my copy to friends and family, because if my friends and family don't like it, it doesn't mean that they're not my market. It means it's boring copy. And I'd messed up. I need to go back and fix it. And I even submitted this webinar to several just what you call normies, non-marketer types before I landed on the pattern interrupt that I liked. There were people who were just like, I don't like it. Like, I'm bored. So I was able to rehash that again and again and again. So I guess what I'm trying to say is mentorship is a definite boost. I can't say that you never need a mentor. You need some sort of guidance. Okay, so I can't say definitively you don't need a mentor. Everybody's gonna be different. What I try to do inside of this is give you such context and so many examples that you have to kind of be able to think for yourself a little bit. But I want to give you so much different context that you can apply this, and you start to think, oh, that's one of those. This is one of those situations because I've seen it in Kyle's videos. I've seen it in all those 500 bonuses he gave me, right? So I want to start to help build that context for you. And ultimately, again, what I'm hoping the best way to serve you is to one day become folks' mentors and become their copy chief through the Copy Squad agency. But this gives them the prerequisite knowledge that they can have the conversation. They can start talking about it intelligently, and they're not just guessing. I'm about to get on a soapbox again. But really, what the big idea, proliferates, that the concept of the big idea, what it proliferates is guessing. It proliferates guessing. Like, I think this is a big idea. This is neat. But it's like, but did it check these 5 boxes? I can tell you it doesn't matter. It's not going to work if it didn't check all 5 boxes. Like, that's the really important part. So mentorship is crucial. It's a huge, like, you learning from other people. I would say it doesn't okay. I'm sorry this is taking so long for me to answer because it's a complicated question. I would say your search for mentors never ends. That's what I was trying to say about when I became copy chief. Like, I was the guy that everyone went to for copy advice when I was the copy chief. That was my job title, like, to be the guy that everyone goes to. So who do I go to? My mentors shifted to, like, how do I lead this team in such a way that we can be successful, everyone sticks around, everybody likes their job, those kinds of things. But I always have, like, some sort of person that I look to for guidance. In terms of copy, this is supposed to help you basically get like a virtual mentorship in this recording. It gives you that sort of guidance and context. I'm really hoping to bake that and also simplify it at such a level that you can see these patterns. That's something I really strive to do in everything that I offer, is simplify, so that anyone can pick up the lesson and be like, oh, that's Nesby. That's new. That's easy. That's safe. That's big. Stuff like that. So I hope that's a helpful answer. I know I rambled a lot. Maybe they can tell me if it was helpful or not helpful.
We got 3 questions now. Where do we apply to?
Okay.
I'd say it was helpful.
Okay. I'm glad it was helpful. And where do we apply to join the agency? Okay. So I put out I casted a wide net on Facebook. I have a Facebook post on my personal profile. There's one on LinkedIn too. So you can just go and just tag the word interested. So I think in the next week or so, what we're going to do is we're going to compile the list of people who are interested, and then we're just going to go through it. So, we haven't figured out exactly how we want the application process to go. I'm pretty sure there'll have to be like some sort of writing assignment involved in that, just to make sure that, you can string 2 sentences together. But that's what I'm doing right now. Even if you have dyslexia, my man's put out a bunch of millions now. Yeah. So the idea is, though, that I just wanted to go ahead and put the word out there and get people to raise their hand so that I could have it all in one spot where I could go through. So right now, the best I've got for anybody is you go find the post on my Facebook page or my LinkedIn, and you go and just type the word interested, because we started just grabbing everybody's name and putting it in like a sheet so that we can eventually reach out to them.
What if your audience are like industrial engineers who are obsessed with stats and data? Would this still work?
The question is, do you have a mic on? I feel like I should repeat the question, right? Yeah. Okay. What if your audience are industrial engineers?
They're obsessed with stats.
Obsessed with stats and data. Yeah. It's the same thing with like Nesby. So like we got industrial engineers. So they're obsessed with stats and data. So like when you use NSBE, new, easy, safe, and big, you can say, look, I've come up with a new software solution that makes getting data so much easier than before. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, when it's like NSBE, that works for anything. I think that's the thing is like, again, do not complicate it. It's psychology. The person you're talking to at the end of the day is a human and they want life to be easier. All right. So with this, with the 7 pages, the 7 figures, a pattern interrupt, you know, we're looking at pattern interrupt, trigger BS. Like just start there, right? Like check it out, you know, like trying to think of what kind of visual I use for industrial engineers. You know, show a mess, show something garbled, show a complicated thing that would resonate. Like, and then maybe you could show something that's like not complicated and not garbled. And then you can say, this could be your life. You know, what you want to do is you want to, if they're obsessed with stats and data, that's fine. But what do they want? Tell me what they want. And then I'm going to push that button immediately. And again, that's what we talk about in pattern interrupt and trigger BS is I'm going to try to present something or start a breadcrumb. I'm going to start a breadcrumb that requires more copy, incomplete thought. And I talk about this in the pattern interrupt section. And whatever the industrial engineer wants, I'm going to open that I have discovered it, or I have some sort of visual to show it, demonstrate it, right? And then I'm going to say, whatever that result is, I'm going to push to the outer boundaries of their believability. And then while they're like, that's not possible. I've been an industrial engineer for 70 years and that's never been done. Then I'm going to start dropping cred and then I'm going to start teasing that thing that I promised them. So it's like, I'm going to do it the same way. Like no matter what the audience is, what matters is what's the carrot I'm going to dangle? What is the trigger BS that I'm going to use? Once I know that, a lot of this stuff sort of falls into place. But yeah, you can use it for basically anybody. Next question.
Can we pay using crypto?
That's a wild question. What a time to be alive. Someone just asked if they could pay using crypto. I don't even know how we would do that. You know what's really funny about this? Is like this. I'm like, okay, so I'm a pretty purebred copywriter. Like, so in order to just put this together, I had to get like 2 guys to set up the email list and do the tags and do all that. Like my craft is copy. And so I wouldn't even know how to take crypto. I would probably have to research for like a week or I have to call somebody and ask them to do it, which is what I've been doing for most everything that's outside of copy. I wish I had an answer to that. I wish I would say yes. I mean, I think that's cool. What crypto would it be? Did they say? That is baller. Can we figure that out? I'd like to do that. Okay. Well, short answer is no, not right now, but maybe in the future. I think that'd be really cool. Again, so there's 2 things of that. Like if we have a crypto wallet or whatever for the business, again, like what I want to do with this program, I don't think, 2 people will actually probably pay in crypto, like 3 maybe. And so that just becomes like a little side, like a war chest, and hopefully it grows. Like, because we're not, this is all about getting people into our funnel for the agency. This isn't supposed to make me a millionaire. Maybe the crypto will though. There's like I was just reading a bunch of sales letters on crypto, like Matic and Poly went up from like 2 cents, like $5 or something crazy. I'm not a crypto guy. Okay, sorry. What's the next question?
This one, I think, is kind of obvious to me, but he wants to know whether like this works on a sales page because all of this has been shown through the example of what.
Oh, good question. Okay, so he says, will this work in a sales page, like long form copy? Because all this has been shown through a webinar. That's a really good question. So the answer is yes. I mean, because all of my demonstrations, nope, I take that back. I do have some webinars in there now I think about it. I have like 2 or 3. The majority of my demonstrations are done with sales pages, long form sales pages inside the program. So can it be done? Yeah, I built like the majority of the course, like those hundreds of sales letter breakdowns that were in a GIF earlier. Those were all like text-based HTML sales pages. Good question. But yeah, I don't want to bite anybody's head off. But again, like the point is, we're talking about psychology. Oh, here's something. Here's something. Okay, so I'll share a secret that I got from Todd Brown, Top One Mastermind. I really liked what he said here. He said like, changing your medium or changing your method doesn't fix like a bad sales argument. He said something like that. He said some people think that if something doesn't work as a VSL, they'll change it to a webinar and it'll work, or they'll change it to a text page and think it'll work. But the problem is the message just sucked. And I was like, that resonates with me, because that's what kind of the question that's getting asked here is like, well, what if I change the format? It doesn't matter the format. You need the message is what matters. The message. I'm telling you how to craft a message. And the way I'm telling you how to craft a message is in a specific way to trigger intense focus. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to capture attention and intense focus. I want rapt attention so that you're just going to listen to me. Because if you listen long enough, hopefully eventually you buy. Oh, by the way, go to copysquad.net/7 pages. Pick up 7 pages, 7 figures right away.
Last question now. Is this different from the Copy Squad Inner Circle?
The question is this different from Copy Squad Inner Circle? Absolutely. Okay. So in Copy Squad Inner Circle, what we do is every Tuesday, one Tuesday, we'll go over a 7-figure sales letter. Okay. We'll go over a promotion. The next Tuesday, we'll do user submissions. And the next Tuesday, we'll go over a 7-figure promotion. And the next Tuesday, we'll do user submissions. And we just alternate back and forth. So what I'm doing in Copy Squad Inner Circle is I'm kind of just going through the promo and I'm looking for those sort of patterns. And I'm taking insights and I'm calling them out as I go through them. And people get to interact, which is another benefit of like the Inner Circle is it's live. At this time, it's live, all those calls. So they can ask questions and stuff. What this is the specific how-to at a major deep dive level of what's happening line by line, the tricks and what you got to do in order to trigger these sorts of psychological reactions, like to get this attention, to get people's attention and hold it. Okay. All right. Any other? Okay.
Mark says thanks, Kyle. Value.
Well, thanks, Mark. Mark says, thanks, Kyle. Tons of value as usual. Thanks, Mark, for sticking around to the very end. I hope you picked up the course. I hope it helps you, either if you're an offer owner, helps your business, or if you're a copywriter, I hope it explodes your royalties. That's what I'm really hoping it does. Okay. Well, folks, there will be a replay. We're recording this. So I think with Zoom, it'll probably take like 2 or 3 hours for this to process, and I'll post it up somewhere. What's that? We'll email them. Okay. We'll email everybody who, do we have everybody who attended the webinar? Will they have their emails and stuff? No. Okay. Well, let's do this. Go to kylethewriter.com and you can put your email on the list. We'll email the replay out to everyone on my list. So you can go to kylethewriter.com and add yourself to the list if you're not on there, and I'll shoot out the replay. Don't post your emails in here because I can't do that. So yeah, just add yourself to the list somehow. kylethewriter.com is a great place to do that. We'll email everybody the replay for folks who didn't see or folks who didn't catch it all. Okay. All right. I think we're all done. All right. Let me hit the stop share. And I want to do a proper sign off for my peeps. Wow. This is cool. This is my first ever webinar. I'm really pumped to see that all these people came, all these people asked questions. You guys stayed till the end, which is awesome. I got some sales apparently. We sold out the first 15 like minutes. So I just want to say thanks very much for tuning in. I really do hope that this is valuable for you. And again, ultimately, I don't make my money selling courses. I make my money with the craft, writing copy and producing new copywriters, helping them get to their first 7 figures. And when Zig Ziglar has this quote that says, to get what you want in life, you just have to get other people what they want in life. And I really took that to heart. And I really feel like if I help equip other copywriters and business owners with making more money, then I will get what I want ultimately, which is the freedom to kind of control my career and control my life. And I can see it playing out as we speak. Like right now, sitting here, I started my own agency. I don't have a job anymore. I don't have a boss anymore. I kind of just do my own thing. And I'm blessed to be able to do that. And I achieved this not through writing my own gazillion-dollar hits and hoarding all the projects. The way I achieved it was with that team, by taking those 5 writers and getting them their first 7 figures. The way I was able to do that is by, because let me tell you one other cool thing that I heard once. I actually heard it this morning. I wish I could tell you who said it, but it was the author of Work Rules. And the quote that I heard this morning was, he said, shouldn't your top salesperson be focused on sales? And he said, I think that's short-sighted, because a person's performance can scale linearly while teaching scales geometrically. And that's something that I want to tap into, is I want to teach more writers this system, help them to achieve their career goals as part of my team, and multiply that effort. I would rather have 1% of 100 men's efforts than 100% of my effort. I'm pretty good, but I'm not that good. I think it'd be a lot easier to spread that teaching, spread the love, and I think everybody wins that way too. So that's my sign off. Thanks so much again for everybody sticking out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace out, Copy Squad.